Welcome back to our show, your show, Let's Talk Stocks. Joining us again in studio this morning is Monique McIntosh. She's the marketing specialist at SkyBlue Transactions. And of course, she's joined us again to continue the conversation about why Easy Pay or school fee payment has gone digital with SkyBlue Transactions. Welcome again, Monique. You sound very sophisticated and into the technology. But here's the question that I'm sure my Jamaican viewers are asking.
Yes.
The big elephant in the room.
Okay.
Security.
Security. Absolutely.
How secure are my transactions?
So your transactions are secure. They are safe. And I have the confidence to say that one, understanding that we accept cards like Visa and MasterCard, and they have rigorous processes. You can't attach their brand to anything that has, extreme vulnerabilities in there. So we have taken the requisite steps to ensure that your information is protected. Beyond that, when you are shopping online, some of the information that you'll get is, one, you want to make sure that you see HTTPS, so the site itself is secure. We have also enacted encryption to ensure that your card data is not stored by us. God forbid if even there should have been some sort of attack and someone gets access to our database, they'll be getting an encrypted database with information that they would they can't use as is. So, as we look at issues of security, this is critical. This is very important. And even as we look at other areas like fraud mitigation and management, we of course understand that this is critical. First and foremost, we encourage all of our merchants to remain vigilant. We talked about business being ever evolving.
Of course.
This is a space that's also ever evolving, right? So on one hand, we encourage you to remain vigilant at the same time. But there are things that we have done within the building of our system, monitoring that happens on the back end, right? That helps to secure your transactions, that may trigger additional security protocols even in the course of processing a transaction based on what we are able to see on the back end, right? So we take security and safety, customer data very seriously, and encourage our merchants, of course, to do the same.
You did say there are two payment solutions. So there's easy payments.
Yes.
And then there's the school fee payment.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about that one. We're still in September. Kids have just gone back to school. Some universities are still, doing their thing in terms of school fee. How does that work? And are schools looking at this as what's the benefit to them?
Okay, absolutely. So school fee payments is another solution coming out of the SkyBlue brand. And this really came out of a need. One of our founders was avoiding going to pay the school fee, not because it didn't have the money to pay it, but the lines and taking time away from work to go through a long and onerous process, and while complaining about it and someone turned and said, so if you have a problem with this, why you don't fix it? Right? And so the truth of or how school fee payments works is this online solution enables schools to process all school related payments on a single platform. Now, one of the big benefits beyond the obvious, which is for the parents and guardians who will now have an easy way to pay. They don't have to they don't even have to leave home, right? In order to make that payment, and even parents and guardians who may be overseas or otherwise, grandma who may say, all right, I'll pay for junior school fee this term. You can facilitate that without going through any other service. We all have heard.
I like the way you put that one. Any other service.
We all have heard the stories, and I hope you wouldn't have experienced this personally, where grandma send the money for school fee, but school fee still don't get paid. So this provides an additional, we talked about security, a little reassurance for grandma to know that it is being used for the intended purpose, and there'll be no hindrances to it being processed.
No slips between the cup and the
right, there we go. So it solves one set of issues that way, but it also solves a gaping, I don't know how many adjectives I could insert here, but a heavy problem that the schools experience. And this is towards the reconciliation process. When you have a school that has 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 students, each student, at least within a particular grade, is paying exactly the same school fee down to the cent, and having to allocate payments to each student. You bring in a lot of element of human error when the process looks like depositing fees at a bank, which almost have an anonymous source, then having to email paid slips via email to the school,
or come and join a line
or
at the
come and
bursar's
join
office.
another line to drop it off at the bursar's office. And so these complicated, onerous, and dare I say outdated processes, we don't have to be there. There are other options that are available to us. And so, or even if you have an option available to persons who may not have an alternative means, at least it is not 1,000, 1,500, it's not your entire student base you're doing this for. So the point of that was to say reconciliation for the school becomes so much easier, because not only can they reconcile school fees, but extracurricular fees. You may pay $10,000 for football, or X amount towards netball, or a uniform fee, and instead of this requiring multiple people to review over multiple weeks, if not months, you can export your data with the click of a button. It's exported in a CSV file or document. You have by grade, students' names and which fees were paid. And you can also integrate or upload this information back into your accounting software like QuickBooks or otherwise. And so you take this process that took weeks or took months to do, and now allow this process to happen seamlessly, right? And in significantly less time. And so we really do encourage schools. Our first school who joined on board with us, they now don't accept any other payment method. You have to use school fee payments, and this is a prestigious school in Kingston, right? You have to use school fee payments to pay for your child's school fees, because they don't want the complication of having to reconcile the other platforms. They find our solution to be the perfect solution for their needs.
Your platform was developed locally in Jamaica by Jamaicans, or did you have to outsource the development and so maintenance and so on is an issue? How is it?
There's a bit of combination of both. So our Chief Technical Officer, Mr. Kyle Lewis, is local, a Jamaican, and he has led our technology efforts, right? We have used both local developers and international developers to help to develop the system as well as to ensure that it fits our context, right? So we use a mixture of both local and international developers.
And how has your customers found it? Is it ideal to the Jamaican scenario, or is it really asking Jamaicans to adapt to the international standards?
So our merchants have found the solution very easy to use, very intuitive. A lot of persons have found it to be the solution that they've been looking for a long time. Because alternative platforms, those who come from overseas, they solve a part of your problem in many cases. They allow for you to get paid, right? But then you're still left with the question of, how do I get my money? Or in what time do I get my money? You know, do I have to deposit a check and wait 20 working days for me to actually get access to the money? And I didn't get the check the same time that the payment was made. So there's so many hurdles that Jamaican business owners and operators have to overcome, that we want to really make it easier for you to transact your business. We look at various business models or approaches towards businesses that have shifted and changed over time. You know, we're talking about, let's use a teacher for example. There are things like on-demand content, whereas you used to have, well, you still have, but the traditional model would have been an extra lesson class, for instance, right? And a solution like Easy Payments can still help you, because a parent can automatically, you can set up a recurring payment every month, X amount of dollars comes off, and you know, as the teacher, you know this is accounted for, and you can track in real time, okay, if a subscription has been cancelled or if it's still active or otherwise. Fine. But beyond that, as we talk about expanding your actual business idea and your business model beyond some of our traditional approaches, what about on-demand content? What about having videos available, or even an ebook available, or so workbooks or worksheets available for your students, where they can consume that information even when they're not right in front of you, right? What about online classes, which we weren't used to it before, right? In many cases, it was not widespread, but for many, it's a lot more convenient, right? So there are other options and solutions and additional streams of income that, if you look at it, if you only rely on some of our traditional methods of payment, you're leaving money on the table, because you're not able to take advantage of some of the ways you can actually get paid.
What does the future look like for you with your different payment systems and your different payment platforms? Is it there's vast room for growth in Jamaica? Are you looking for growth across the region and internationally?
Absolutely. So we see there being a lot of room for growth in Jamaica, but also across the Caribbean, you know, because there are many ways. I gave a few examples, and even as we just look around us, around the landscape, we can see that there are many untapped opportunities, both with small business operators and even with larger organizations, to step into the online realm and at least add it as one of your payment options, right? to ensure to offer your customers that sort of flexibility and make it convenient for them, right? But also there are so many opportunities for growth that exist for our local and regional business operators.
As we look to wrap, Monique,
Yes.
what would you like to leave on the minds of the viewers, whether individuals or businesses?
Okay, so I'd like to let our business owners and operators know that signing up for Easy Payments is very simple. Once you provide us with your details, your information, you can get set up and start collecting payments within 2 business days.
2 days.
It does not require the stack of papers that you would have with alternative methods or platforms, some of our more traditional methods, but it keeps the integrity in terms of the security and what it is that you're provided with. And we have partners or merchants like the Jamaica Stock Exchange who are using our platform and doing so happily for a number of years. And so we are looking forward to more businesses taking that step to really bring their businesses into the future, into the now, and be able to collect online payments. And I know our parents would love the flexibility and really just bringing the ability to pay online into more schools. So our school administrators and bursars, we want to talk to you, and you can get in touch with us at easypayments.com, info@easypayments.com, or schoolfeepayments.com. We are ready and waiting to speak with you.
Monique McIntosh, you see why she's the marketing specialist at SkyBlue Transactions. She's telling you how easy it is to make that payment or to have that payment made, as the case may be. But that's why we do these programs. That's why we tell you every day. We give you information to make better financial decisions. Come back with us tomorrow morning at 9. Another insightful program lined up for you.